Welcome to the Celebrating Women podcast. Mandee Montana and Ashley Fisher dig into conversation about women, their issues, their thoughts, their lives, and celebrate their gifts, their talents, their courage. It's the Celebrating Women podcast, presented by Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa in Tyler, Texas. Hey, it's Mandee, and this is your reminder that relaxation is a great gift. It's not only a gift that you should give yourself, but great to share with others this season of change. Graduation season is here, and not only would grads benefit, but so would mom and dad from a little less stress and relaxation, right? So how do I relax? Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa in Tyler is where I go to relax. And when I go all in and add on those wonderful Himalayan salt stones for deeper relaxation, exfoliation, and more. And I recently tried the Tyler Special, and it was amazing. It includes the salt stones and decompression therapy, which stimulates your lymphatic system and supports that deep tissue work. Their signature glide technique avoids any marks to your skin while stimulating fresh blood flow. You'll want to relax and rehydrate afterward, but the next day, you're going to feel fabulous. Visit Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa located in the Cumberland Shopping Center in Tyler, or book online at handandstonetyler.com. Hey friends, it's Mandee. So this is a fun interview with our friend Madlyn Lackey of Dove Hollow Estate. And when we cracked the mic, we just got right into it on this day. Since then, Madlyn has given birth to her sweet son, Callum. We recorded this a few weeks ago, so please enjoy. Thank you for listening. Enjoy the Celebrating Women podcast.
I just automatically want to say Madlyn's a badass.
Oh my gosh, that's so nice. It's so not true.
No, it is. It really is.
It's true.
It's
I'm
very
the one
true.
that takes on, I think I take on too much. I think that's what it is. I think I have a hard time saying no. Maybe that's my thing. That's probably a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people. But Madlyn is a mom of 2.5 right now.
That's right. That's right.
She's got 2 beautiful girls, and she's got a sweet little baby boy that is just about almost fully cooked and ready to come out here like any day, right?
Yeah, like it could happen in the middle of this. How
Yeah,
exciting would
that would be so exciting.
Really shake things up.
I'll get my camera out.
Yeah, that's right. Well, this is gonna become a very different room very quickly.
I have to do a deep clean of this room.
Yeah. People are gonna be like, wait, I went the room Madlyn wasn't in for this.
Yep. And she's a wife and an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about your journey with entrepreneur dreams.
Yeah.
You and your sister cooked up this amazing dream. You have this beautiful venue in Longview, Texas called Dove Hollow. Mm-hmm. It is truly one of the most beautiful venues in East Texas. And you guys have killed it. So
thanks.
Tell us your story. Tell us that story.
Well, as far as the beginning of it, so I guess let me back up. So I haven't always just... I have a nursing degree. That's kind of like my background with going to college. That's what thought I was going to do. I worked for Parkland in downtown Dallas for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And so that's what I thought and I enjoyed it. I thought that was I think it was my calling at that time in my life, kind of thing. And I do still sometimes miss nursing. Now, could I go back? I don't think so, just because I think once you've been your own boss for a certain period of time, that's just...
You just can't.
That transition would be really hard. Yeah, but I appreciate that time in my life 1,000%. But we started building the venue towards, I guess it was started talking about it maybe year 3.5 into my nursing career, and then started building the venue towards the end of that 4 to 5 year mark. And then just if you've ever built a home or anything in your life, you know that construction is just the most taxing, detailed, people calling you. We have a question about we thought you wanted this window, or this was going to fit here, but now it's not. What do you want to do? And if you're not there to make those questions, I don't know. Or to answer those questions, it's kind of impossible. So doing that from 2.5 hours away was not easy. So then I ended up having to quit my nursing job to then be closer just to on-site construction and things like that. But so then that was kind of the slow transition, which was terrifying, because then we've now gone from a 2-income family. We had our first daughter at the time, and she was not quite 2. I think she'd turned 1. She's maybe around 18 months or so. Then moving to just my husband's paramedic salary, which if you know anything about that, that's not a lot of money.
You're like, no big deal.
So I'm like, okay, this has really got to work, So then got closer, moved to Tyler. He got a job in Tyler. That's the one great thing about us both being in the medical field. I didn't work at the time. Like all my attention was at the venue, but he got a job at, I don't know if you can't remember if it was an ambulance service at the time or if he went straight into one of the hospitals, but it was one or the other. And then we just started praying that we could like do bookings while construction was, happening. They'll do like these like hard hat specials, but gosh, that was so, for people who aren't visual, trying to explain the way something is going to look and like have them trust you. We would do these tours, and we'd have like tile samples out and trying to walk through this construction site of like, and this is the room, where you'll be getting ready. And it just looks like
Which unless
trash.
you have a creative eye.
To be honest.
Yeah, I'm sure
it's
that
really
was
glamorous, I promise,
Yeah.
So anyway.
This is going to look so good.
Trust me. Yeah, I've never done this before, but this is what my, goal. But anyway, so we did not book very much, honestly, before we were done. We were way more. I think that was a very naive aspect. We were hoping, because in Dallas, I think they do that a lot, and I think they do get a lot of, but there's so many more people to go around, and there's the market, there's just more competition, and people are looking for that discount, because everything is so expensive. But we were in a completely different market out here in East Texas, can't charge as much. And then who do these girls think they are? I think was a,
Sure.
kind of thing. So, so that was a struggle. And then we finally did our first wedding was New Year's of 2017.
What a cool way to
It was
start
really
your year
cool.
off.
They had some like fireworks, and I was like, oh, this is going to be neat. I will tell you, this is kind of funny though, because you get it all cleaned and prepared, and it's like, oh, first wedding, it's spotless, and then at the end of the night, what a venue looks like. It's just like trashed, and we looked at each other. We're like, is this place ever going to be clean again?
Did you want to cry?
Yeah, we were just like,
so hard.
oh my gosh, what have we done? And then, I think we had like 30-something weddings the first year, which I counted that as a huge,
great.
That's a great
success.
thing. Yeah.
But we cleaned after each one, because you're trying not to spend money where you don't have to. But the second and third, we quickly got up to like our full capacity, and then started trying to hire on a few, just like a cleaning company. We did have like a yard guy that would come and blow leaves in the fall when the leaves were too out of control. But it is very much a family, close-knit thing. It's me and my sister that run it. We're kind of the faces of the business. Mom is a small portion of like bookkeeping, keeping receipts, just the landscaping and everything. She's the green thumb that like
it's beautiful.
It takes care of all of. So
She
that's
does that?
all her. That's Mom.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and so we'll change out beds seasonally. So we're out there like helping her, but like she knows when to fertilize and where what plants need to get planted where. Yeah, that's awesome. That's Mom.
I just sort of assumed you had somebody that did all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only been out there the one time, but it was for homecoming.
Yes, and gosh,
White
it's
Oak
been
homecoming.
so different even since then.
Yeah, but it was gorgeous. It was beautiful, and I just sort of assumed you probably had somebody. But yeah, that's a lot of work. That's incredible.
Just the I know. Whenever like she can't do that anymore, we're just like, oh gosh, like I'm trying to learn as much as I can, But man,
That's a lot. That's a big
the
undertaking.
beds may start looking not so great when Mom can't do it anymore. Things that are not as high maintenance. And then Dad will help with things when it comes to like we need to lay new, like put new asphalt down. The one that can like run the tractor and that kind of stuff. But for the most part,
it is.
Yeah. So that's just kind of how. I mean, we're not any sort of like franchise. I don't know that we've had a few different photographers that are really nice, like Stacy Splon's one of my good friends. You probably know her from Magnolia Studio, and she's so funny. She'll send me links like to different places, like in Marshall, and she's like, "This would make a really cool venue." I'm like, Stacy, I just don't feel like I can split myself. But
that would be hard.
But you were so kind to think, I don't know. It would look very different in how hands-on we are. Like it would be more of a pullback so that we could. Yeah. So I don't know what the future necessarily looks like for the business. But I'm really happy with where we are right now. We're both clearly still growing our family, so I think it's hard when you have littles to think about like taking on even more.
Yeah.
And I do have a planning and coordinating business within the business too, so I kind of have two roles going. Where Natalie's strictly venue, which is good because I need her to be just eye on that, so that if I miss things because I'm doing the other. So I feel like we're a really good balance right now. We feel like we've gotten comfortable and a system. But yeah, it's just a busy life. Being an entrepreneur is there's so many glamorous aspects as far as like running your own business, setting your own schedule, you know, taking time off and just saying, no, I'm not going to answer this phone, you know, or just being able to call the shots. But then also you don't truly feel like you're ever not working. Yeah. So you don't just clock out at a certain, you know, time of day and get to go home, and you're not always guaranteed a paycheck, you know, kind of thing. So there's pros and cons to it, but I don't think I could ever not be the boss.
Yeah, I know. Listen, once you've had a taste of that, it's like, I had that thought the other day. You know, every now and then somebody will still ask me, like, do you ever think you'll go back to the classroom? And I'm like,
like literally never.
I mean, I've learned not to say never.
I know.
But I can say,
I know.
Lord, I hope not.
I know.
Because it's a whole new world. And I think that once you get into it, you realize that this was how you were wired to begin with. But so talk, you know, this is a very like almost cliche question, but I'm going to throw it out at you.
No, do it.
How do you balance being an entrepreneur and being a wife and being a mom of
almost
three?
I don't know. I don't sleep a whole lot.
There's the real answer.
And I drink a lot of caffeine when I'm not pregnant, although this is coffee now, but it'll be, I mean, I don't know, y'all. My husband will just say I probably don't manage it very well, honestly. He'll probably be like, she's very uptight. I don't know. You just do it. I don't even know. Like, there's not really a true answer. You just, when my husband Willem, he'll say, what hobbies do you have? And I'm like, well, when I'm not pregnant, I really love to like work out, you know, like my dedicated workout times. I like to have a moment to like watch a reality trashy TV show, you know, and then like a good phone call with one of my girlfriends, you know, or like
getting her nails done.
Or just some sort of like self-care situation. But other than that, I don't know. Like,
but you love what you do.
But I love what I do. That's the thing too. Yes, I don't like dread waking up. I remember there being mornings like driving into downtown Dallas, you know, and just being like, man, how am I going to do this today? Especially when Colette came, and it was like waking up a sleeping baby at 5 a.m. so I could, you know, leave the door by 6 so that I could be clocked in to work by 7, and then working a 12-hour shift, and then driving home only 20 miles, but it took me an hour and a half, and then just feeling like there was no family time, you know, like I remember that life, and I don't know. I'm so glad it was so short-lived, because but it was like it was long, but it, you know, it's one of those things. While you're in it, it feels like it's never going to end, or like this is my world, I guess. But then I look back and I'm like, okay, that was just long enough, and it really was a short stint of what my whole like life journey is.
Yeah,
but
right.
It was enough to be like, okay, I really don't ever want to have to like go back to a routine like that.
Yeah, which I think those seasons of, you know, it's a season of sacrifice, but it's also a season of contrast. That's your teacher, you know, that's like, oh, you know, once you get the taste of the entrepreneur life and you realize that that's more fitting, it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm thankful for that then, because now I know.
Right.
What is it that, like, what is it about what you do that you love so much? Like, where do you find your passion in it?
I think the creative side that I have, like especially with my like Mad Love Events planning business, I really, because as a nurse, I can be analytical, but I also love to create, and I love beautiful things. I even like love like dabbling in like some interior design, you know, like in the home setting.
And she's amazing at it.
Well, thank you. That's really sweet.
Because you basically designed your home
My home now. Yeah.
And it's freaking magazine worthy.
Well, it's just, that's a really fun thing for me. And you don't get that in a medical world, like hospital world. And this is kind of a fun, like silly thing. I hadn't even thought about it till the other day. I had a little like jewelry making business while I was nursing.
Really?
Yeah. It was like, it was called Mad Antler. And it was like these little antler pieces like that I would like make different like necklaces and things out of. And I had a little Etsy shop, and I did a couple like flea market things around Dallas. So it's like, I feel like at the time I was like trying to find a way to like use my creativity, and it wasn't anything that ever, you know, but it was something that was satisfying that little need at the time, you know? And so I think I was always kind of like looking for that. And this career allows me to
Flex
run a
those muscles.
venue and flex. Yeah. But then also have, it's good with both. It gives me, I don't know. There's so much of it with running a venue that is not creative, but there is a lot that is. And like when we remodel things, it's fun to like always keep things fresh.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think it's a good balance of both.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I love about entrepreneurial journeys is like you get that seed planted in your heart at some point. So I'm really curious as to how it came together for you and Natalie.
Yeah.
Like where did the idea come from, and how did you guys go, oh my gosh, we have the courage to cook this crazy thing up?
Right. So when Natalie, we'd always kind of talked about owning a business together, but we didn't really know what that was going to be. When I had my nursing background, I was like, well, we could own like a med spa or something. I could get my license. I could do like injections and fillers and things like that. I could be that side of things. I could go on and get my nurse practitioner's license, and be that person. I said, and then you could handle like the office side of things and, hiring people and whatever else that looked like. So that was really our other idea. But then we talked about a venue too. And I don't know where that even, honestly, how that even came about or why that was one of our ideas. But then Natalie got engaged shortly after. And so when she started looking for venues and we started kind of touring like the Dallas area, I think she was living in San Antonio at the time too, possibly. Anyway, we were just touring different venues trying to figure out where's Natalie going to get married, And then it was like, well, remember that time we talked about maybe opening our own venue? We could maybe try that and maybe you could be the first bride, kind of thing. And so that's how that came about. It was like, okay, well, if we're going to do it, like, I feel like it's kind of now or never. I'm like, we're not going to get any younger. I said, at this point, I've got some like 401k money built up, like we can take out business loans. Like we can just literally scrape by, and try to get started. We were trying to get our mom retired too. She's a lifetime teacher. She had been eligible for retirement for years at that point, but just couldn't or didn't want to, or mixture of both. I was like, Mom can be a part of the business and we can work together as a family and she won't have to teach anymore. So, presented it to Mom, and between the three of us and our husbands, like, can't believe. I mean, that's the thing too that's so shocking is that we were able to get the personality of my husband and Natalie's husband
everybody
also on board. Yes. To do it. And so it was just like, the most terrifying thing ever. Like, if this fails, I guess we're just going to like be in this weird barn and put walls up and we'll just live in it. We're going to have to all sell our homes. We're all just going to have to sell everything we have.
It's going to have a little commune out here in the barn.
And live in this commune. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to have to happen. So,
but what was it that pushed you through the fear? Like most people, that fear is what stops them from doing this.
Well, it's fear, but then I think it was also being like, we've said this so many times throughout the years. We are so thankful that we did not know every aspect of this business. Like, being naive in a lot of aspects and just ignorant is huge. Like, you need to have researched things, but you also don't need to know all of it, because then you're going to feel like you can't handle it. And you do just like kind of learn as you go. You learn by your mistakes. And you just, I don't know. And it happens really fast. Like, you figure it out. Yeah. I don't know. It's a hard question to answer. Like, but you just, and I think it is just, I really think this is what we were meant to do. So I think God is a big part of it. Like, he just pushes you to finish, to do it. Like, you just, there's like a small sense of peace in all the fear, you know?
Yeah, there's that peace again. May feel a little uncomfortable, but there's peace. Yeah.
We've talked a lot about that between the two of us and our journeys too, because I didn't think I would ever be an entrepreneur. But listening to you talk about your jewelry story too, I've always had at least 2 jobs. Yeah. Always.
And you've created them for yourself. Like, you're always like, yes. Yeah.
But I didn't, but that never really occurred to me that was entrepreneurial. Right. You know, like I would DJ parties for a short period of time. And then even in high school, like, I was tutoring other kids. Yeah. Like, I just wasn't even, those things never occurred to me that like that was a small business.
No, that's true. I cleaned houses in high school, like for different teachers and stuff. And I actually did that through college. I played volleyball in college too, but like, so I never like had a job working, but like I always had this like home cleaning business, because you can make some dang good money cleaning people's houses. At it. Yeah. And you get a few homes and you're making way more than minimum wage, doing that. So yeah, I agree. I think, and that being very clean, honestly, has been a big part of this business too, because people will come in and they'll be like, gosh, we just toured so-and-so and it was just dirty. Like, how do y'all keep it so clean? How have y'all been here? And I'm like, we just are very clean people. And I just think back and I'm like, and I always have been, you know what I mean? It's just funny how your whole life, when you look back, it just, I think it just.
All the dots connect.
All the dots connect. It just makes sense. Yeah.
It's funny because maybe even in one of our conversations, Mandee, recently, I realized, oh my goodness, like when I was a kid, I would, if my dad had his like camcorder out, I would take it from him and I would go do my own stuff.
So cute.
You know, and made my own little movies and loved taking photos, and even at a really, really young age. But I always was like, I'm going to be a teacher. It's just funny, you know, how all of those things connect.
When you're around teaching, like, I feel like the three of us can relate to this. With your mom being a teacher, Ashley, your mom was a teacher. I felt like I was mothered by a lot of my teachers because my family situation was just kind of different. You're so drawn to it because you have such a deep appreciation for it, right?
Well, they're so caring in nature.
Yeah.
Like, you love these people. Yeah.
Right. So like I see the attraction to it. Almost all of my best friends from school are now teachers. Yeah. And so like I have a deep appreciation for it, and I thought I wanted to do that too when I was in school for that reason, I think. But then, you know, you get out into life and you start experiencing other things, or somebody crosses your path or whatever. Like for me, the radio thing was such a surprise. But then to that same point, I would record the radio on cassette tapes and go back and listen to things whenever I was in middle school, like were my favorite songs, you know?
Yes.
But I never really, like, I didn't think I want to be a DJ one day. That never crossed my mind. And when I was a kid, my parents got me one of those, basically a karaoke machine, but without the words printed on it. You know, this was the 90s. Yes. So I could record, and I would talk into the thing and just record myself talking. I cannot sing. Please don't ask.
Yeah.
It's a terrible experience. I attempted it on my own, right? But like I would even record myself talking back then. And so it's so strange. Like I think God plays a big part in it. It's like he's got this thread that he pulls through our lives of like, I'm showing you these little glimpses of like where you're meant to go.
These are your interests.
Yeah. So interesting.
I really now, like, I really believe, you know, so many people go through life and we ask that question, like, what am I meant for? What's my purpose? And I really believe that if you need a roadmap to what your purpose is, take a look inward at what your heart's desires are. What do you love? What won't let go of you? Like at night you're thinking about it, or you still, even though you have this job, you still gravitate towards this. Because when I was teaching, that's when I started my photography business.
Right.
And I told the story about how one day during school, they wanted me to come take pictures of kids with Santa. And so they got me a sub for my class. And I went for like 2 hours. I got to take pictures.
You're like, this is the best day of my life.
Listen, those 2 hours brought me more joy than 8 hours every day in the classroom. And I just like, I feel like that's the roadmap. If you want to know, like, if you just feel stuck, or if you feel like, man, I don't know what I'm here for, go back to the basics. Like what are your heart's desires? What do you love?
What's fun?
What's fun? Yes.
Yeah. When's the last time you felt joy? What were you doing? Yeah. I agree.
And a lot of people, they get stuck with, well, I like taking pictures, but I mean, I can't start a business. Why not?
Yeah.
Or I love, interior design, and I love, designing buildings, and I love the idea of being my own boss, but I can't do anything with that. Yeah, you can. But let's, and two, like, man, what does your village look like?
Oh,
I think that's
huge.
I think that's massive.
That's a huge thing. Like, there's no way. Mom, so where the house is now is next to the venue, which was life-changing. We've been there just a year. When things got super busy, though, we just knew, like, we lived in Tyler. I miss Tyler so much. Just like the day-to-day, there's more things to do for kids during the week, like the young ones, that aren't in school yet, that kind of thing. So I've had to kind of transition that. But Mom and Dad are literally just a little bit farther down from me now. So me, Mom, and Dad are all right there close to the venue, which is nice because this is a thing that I didn't really think about either. And it's funny, now being next door, and I can literally look out my like kitchen window, you know, and kind of see through trees, you know, and stuff. But like people will want to come look. Well, it's appointment only because it's not like a normal retail place, right? I don't have like people aren't just like walking in. There's nothing to buy. But we'll see like people hop the fence and want to go like look around, you know, and or like they'll be like there's little pipeline roads, you know, and they'll be trying to. I'm like, how did that car get in there, you know? And they'll be like because someone left a gate open in the back that works on like oil field stuff or something. So anyway, we're all right there to keep an eye on the place, which is so great, even just for because I mean a lot of times it's just harmless, but we've had you know a few that I'm like, I don't know what your intentions are to be here, you know, kind of thing. So that's been good. But then also with just the kids, like it's just crazy. Like I don't even know. People who don't live close to family that are helpful, I mean, I know they just have to like pay for childcare or they aren't able to work. Like, I mean, there's literally no other option. And I'm just so incredibly thankful that I have a mom and a dad that can watch the kiddos. And with my husband being a firefighter, he's 24 on, 48 off. So I try to plan things around, you know, whenever he can watch them too. But it's just a balancing act. Like no week looks the same. Yeah. Ever. Ever. And so I've told Willem in the past, like, I'm like, with 3 a week, we may have to actually hire like some sort of help. But I'm like, okay, what would that look like? It's not someone that I need all the time. It's not like a full-time nanny position or anything like that. It's like, I need someone who can be flexible to either a couple hours during the day while I have a few meetings or even just like a phone call. It's maybe someone like on a Saturday when it falls where he's got to be at work, but I need from like 3 to midnight, you know, until I get back, or even like 1 a.m. It's just the weirdest hours. I'm like, so this person is going to have to literally just fall out of the sky, you know, and they probably will. God will probably send them to us. But yeah, it's just such a weird balance of life. You just figure it out, you know. It's funny, my dad is very helpful once we're past the diaper stage.
Yeah, that's
most men. So, and Blair is to that point now, my 3-year-old, where he, like the other day, I was like, Dad, I have like 3 tours. Mom's over here working on whatever she was doing at the venue too, putting in some sort of flower situation. And then I can't remember when Natalie was, I think Natalie was with me. We were just doing the same thing. I was like, can you please just take Blair like up to Dairy Queen for like 2 hours, you know, and Colette was in school. And then Natalie's husband had her daughter or her mother-in-law, somebody, because she's got her mother-in-law too, which is great. That's on the other side. It really is, though. It just looks crazy week to week. Like people, I probably stress people out. Like if I was to show them, like, and this is what this is. And, but it's just how it works for us.
And being type A, and there's a certain amount of chaos with being an entrepreneur you have to deal with, you know, but it works.
It's like it's organized, but it's organized chaos. You know, like totally. Yeah, that's just what it is. Yeah. Especially when there's kids in the mix. So.
Well, you just do it so well. You really do.
Oh, well, thank you.
You do. You're doing awesome.
Appreciate it.
What is your vision? Like, I mean, I don't want to like say what is your 5-year plan, so to speak, but I'm curious, like, well, things are going kind of the way that you intended.
Yes.
What's kind of next, maybe?
I want something next that's more passive, because what we do now is so hands-on. It's so labor intensive. It is so like, I don't know. It's kind of like, I talked to one of my good friends is a hairdresser, and she's like, I need some income where it's like, it's not me, you know, like it's the act of like physically cutting the hair. And she's like, but if I don't go to work that day, I don't make money. And it's like, well, that's kind of how I feel too. And so I really want some sort of passive income, whether that means in the like interior design world or like a flipping of a home situation where I don't know how much I've dabbled a little in helping like friends and some like past brides who are clients wanting me to help them with like a small remodel, you know, just like changing out of light fixtures and things like that. So I've helped with that, but this is probably going to sound bad, but I don't necessarily love having the opinion of others when it comes to interior design, because a lot of times we're not on the same page, and I can be really confident in how it's going to end up. And if I can't convince them of that, and the final project or product isn't like a home run, like I feel like it should be. So I really think I want to do something in those realms that's just flip a house, or I don't know what that looks like, but without the homeowners like input, you know. So I don't know if that means working with like a builder, maybe getting close with, where I'm more like lead design or something like that. But in that same breath, I would have to back off how many weddings I plan a year.
For sure.
You know, so I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking might be next. But first thing is birth this child and
get him into the world.
Get him a little independent, and then go back to
there.
career moves. So, but that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
I feel like you'll find the right situation.
I hope so.
You will.
I feel like everything always works out.
I think so. I think it will. Yeah. But yeah.
I'd love for you to meet my friend Brooke. She was actually our first guest on the podcast, and she worked at TxDOT.
Okay.
And she created roads and bridges before actually opening her own interior design firm.
That's
and
awesome.
She's been working in that field now for like 2 years.
Okay.
But she would tell you, we were talking the other day about like her ideal client. I'm helping her a little bit with her social media, and you know, it's a lot like what you just described. I mean, sometimes you're just not the right fit for some clients, right?
100%. Or your style just doesn't match
Right,
up. Like,
exactly.
I don't have a super modern, like, style. And so I don't know that I would be the right fit for a client that is just very, like, sharp edges, black and white. You know, like, I like color. I like vintage. I like a little bit of modern mixed in. But, yes, for sure. Like, I think that you could easily pass that on to someone else that could handle that job better.
Right. So, like, I feel like you'll find your people is what I guess I'm saying. Like, I think they'll just show up when you're probably when you are able to handle it, right? Because, like, obviously, if they showed up today would not be
ideal. Not ideal. Be like, listen, get back to me in like 3 months.
Yeah.
And that's ambitious, right?
And that is ambitious, even that. I know. It's true. I know.
Well, we have some fun questions that we like to ask everybody at the end. So, do you want to ask them, or do you want me to go for it?
Yes. So, what is your passion? Like, what gets you up in the morning?
I mean, at this point in my life, I don't know. Okay, so that's kind of, I guess that is a little bit of a hard question. I feel like I've always been very driven. So without even in school, right? So even just like high school, like you got to make good grades. And it wasn't like any sort of pressure that I ever really felt from like my parents. They weren't hard on me. Like, it's very much an internal, natural thing for me. I never got like scolded if I got a B or a C or was failing anything, which, you know, like it was none of that. So I don't know. I think that is just an innate passion to want to do good, to want to succeed. At this point now, it's to want to provide for my family, to be a good role model for my kids, you know, just to show that women can do things and be moms and you can do it all. It's not easy. And some days you are failing, you know, but you're succeeding more so than the days you feel like you are failing. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's just you're kind of just built that way to want to be passionate, to want to
do good,
to get up and check off all the things on your list, you know.
That's a great answer. I love that. It might be my favorite answer so far.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome. This one might also be a hard question.
Okay, I'm ready.
They get easier.
Okay.
They do get easier. What scares you?
Oh. Failure, just failure. Like if this business went under, you know, like what would that mean? I mean, because at this point, I essentially am the breadwinner of our family. My husband is not any sort of way about it. Like, he completely like agrees and understands and knows, and he's so supportive of me, and that's the reason I've been able to do as much as I have. So just being able, like any of the two, or I guess any of the two businesses, if the businesses were to fail, that would be the ultimate. Just like, I don't know. That would be really, really hard pill to swallow.
I feel like you'd bounce back, though.
Gosh, I don't know. I hope so.
Yep. So we borrow a question from Rachel Hollis's podcast, and this one gets easier.
Okay.
What is your coffee order?
Oh, okay. I really like cold brew. So a cold brew with some sort of like sugar-free vanilla, or if they have like caramel. I'm a big caramel person. And then like a little bit of heavy cream, and I'm always about some like cold foam on top.
This is the best answer.
That's usually what it looks like. Now, we got a new Scooters coffee shop in Longview, and I've been, and my good friend, her name's Ashley too. I've seen, like, she had ordered it. I was like, okay, I'm about to go to Scooters. What do you order? And she gets a sugar-free vanilla latte, but then she adds like 2 pumps of raspberry syrup, and it's iced, and it's really good.
Raspberry in my coffee is one of my favorites.
So you should try that.
Never tried it.
I'll have to try it.
It was good. That was the first time I tried it, and I liked it.
Yeah,
nice.
That's good stuff.
Well, obviously this is not the right time for this, but do you have a favorite cocktail?
Margarita, just spicy. I literally at every wedding. My brother's wedding was 2 weekends ago, and they had like a full bar, all these fun cocktails.
And you're like,
I was like, this is the worst time to be pregnant. Gosh.
Did you smell it?
I 1000% smelled it. I did. And we had an open house the beginning of April, and they made this like watermelon margarita, and I was smelling it too. I know. Not that huge of a drinker, but my gosh, whenever you're pregnant, you just want the things you can't have.
It's true.
And alcohol is just one of those things. Yeah. Good cocktails, you miss them, man.
Yeah,
I believe
cocktails and sushi. Dang it.
You miss it. I know. Can't wait.
I was like, I hate to even ask you this question right now.
I talk about it all the time. That's like my job. I'm surrounded by alcohol every weekend. So it's just like, ugh. I told Willem, I was like, we're getting a margarita ASAP. Soon as it's out. It's happening.
Yep.
I like it.
And then the last question is, if you could have like an all expense paid trip anywhere in the world, I mean, like really put you up anywhere, where would it be?
I think it'd be like Greece or something like that. And yeah, I think that's what it would be. Just blue water, like, I don't know, good food. I've never truly been out of the country, like other than like Mexico. So I mean, that's one of my goals in life too. Is I want to get to the point where traveling is comfortable and is something that is a priority, like for our family and our kids and stuff. So, but I've always wanted to go to Greece. I feel like that would be just so beautiful, and I don't know. There's just something about it.
That's on my list too.
Yeah. Too.
I saw someone on Facebook this weekend from pictures. She's like in Crete right now, and I was like,
I know, right?
Literally just taking pictures outside of her like window,
and it's just anything is just gorgeous. Yeah.
It's on my list too. I've been to Italy a couple of times, and it's amazing.
That sounds beautiful too.
But Greece is not that far away.
No, it's not.
That's the thing. It's not.
Relatively not that far away. It's probably like, I don't know, East Texas to Dallas or something.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's so silly. Like Texas is so big.
I know it is.
And then you look at Europe and you're like, most of it could fit inside Texas. It's crazy.
Isn't crazy? I know.
Yeah. But Madlyn, this has been a real pleasure because I haven't really talked to you in years and years and years, even though we kind of grew up together.
Right.
But where can we find you? So if somebody's listening and they're like, oh my gosh, I got to check out this venue. Like, where can they go?
Well, we have a website, so dovehollowestate.com, and then we have a social media, Instagram, TikTok. I'm trying to be better about TikTok. Honestly, this is something too. We have, when it comes to like marketing for the venue, this is a conversation with like vendors we have a lot. Is like, where do you, and it's honestly just through the free social media is where we get most of our clients. Like print is dead. Yeah. Honestly, like there was a couple a main magazine in the area whenever we first started out that we were in, but that we ended up, I don't know if we actually can't remember if the magazine ended first or if we pulled out of it first, but one way or another, it's not around anymore anyway. Yeah. And then we do pay for one advertising thing with like the Knot. So like if they're on the Knot, they could find the venue through that too. But I also have like my own personal Instagram, and then I have an Instagram for like my planning business. So Mad Love Events, and then just Madlyn Lackey. So
very
a few different things out there. Social media is the best. I mean, that's how we all connect these days.
Yep.
So
I know.
And it's wonderful for businesses too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Totally. This has been so fun. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's awesome.
The Celebrating Women podcast wants to hear from you. Find us on social media at facebook.com/Celebrating Women Podcast or on Instagram. Search Celebrating Women Podcast. You can also email us a voice message to celebratingwomenpodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear your story or the story of an incredible woman you know. Send it to celebratingwomenpodcast@gmail.com. The Celebrating Women podcast is created and hosted by Mandee Montana and Ashley Fisher. Thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to subscribe to the Celebrating Women podcast.